Well, hello, everybody. It's Christine and Ryan McCoy with the Real McCoy Group of Coldwell Banker, and we are here with Gio from Love Inc. And I have to say, Gio, I feel like we were destined to meet because I found stuff on my desk a few months ago that said Love Inc. on it. Well, I apologize. I had never heard of Love Inc. So I kind of read it and I put it aside and I didn't think much more of it. And then some Rotarian friends of mine keep bringing you up. So, and then they invited you to the podcast. And so I was very excited to finally get to know the true mission of Love Inc., a little bit about you and how you got to Delaware. So welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. And yeah, Rotary definitely played a part in all of this. Even me starting as a Rotarian back in, 2018 or something like that. But mission of Love Inc. Is to mobilize local churches to transform lives and communities in the name of Christ. And back when I first started, before I even started with Love Inc., I was serving at another nonprofit out of state. And I'm originally born and raised from Puerto Rico and moved to the mainland in 2013. So about maybe 5 years ago, I was visiting my friend who lived in Sussex County. And I remember visiting Love Inc. Mm-hmm. And they had the mission, that same mission that I mentioned, written on like a dry erase board. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and I said, I love this mission. Like, I can get behind this. I can certainly be a part of something like that. Mind you, I wasn't thinking about leaving or relocating or anything like that. But I remember seeing that and saying, wow, what an incredible mission to mobilize local churches to transform lives and communities in the name of Christ. And so eventually an opportunity opened up, and my trajectory has changed a little bit over time. Mm-hmm. I've been with Love Inc. now for about 3 years, and I'm now the community relations director, and I co-lead the development department with our executive director, Pastor Miguel Albin.
That's awesome. Well, clearly you're doing your job because I now know about you.
Persistence is key.
We're asking for a promotion. So tell us a little bit about how Love Inc. started, and give us a history of it here in the Delmarva area.
Yeah, so nationally it started in 1977. This believer, this Christian social worker, wanted to start like a collaborative approach to meeting needs. And so then it spreads around the country. And since we've been around for 15 years now, and this affiliate, the Mid-Delmarva one, for 15 years now. And it started in the basement of a church with one person.
Oh my gosh.
Answering the phones. And I'll explain our system a little bit as we go along. But essentially, we have a lot of Love Inc. call it the clearinghouse. I don't like that name. It's not as friendly. We call ours the connection center.
Oh, I like that much better.
It sounds a lot more approachable, right? Yeah. But there's basically a system that works as one, but it all starts and flows to and from the connection center. But it started in the basement of Seaford Presbyterian Church 15 years ago.
Wow.
And with one person as a volunteer. And it's all about coordinating the existing resources, preventing the duplication of services, and a lot more that goes with that. But that's how it started. Basement of a church with one person as a volunteer.
That's incredible. And you're saying the Delmarva area, so it's all of this area. So Sussex, Kent County, and Delaware.
So we're based out of Sussex County. Mm-hmm. Our headquarters are in Seaford, Delaware. Mm-hmm. But I like to say that wherever our partners are, there we are too, right? So we have partners all over Delmarva,
That's awesome.
Denton, Maryland, but strongest in Sussex County, Delaware. But we're in Salisbury. We're not just Delaware, but beyond. And we have a lot of room for growth. And that's the hope, but I know we'll talk about that a little later as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about what some of the needs that you see most prevalent in this area? Because people, a lot of our listeners are going to be like, well, you live at the beach. Everything's hunky-dory. People forget Sussex County is mostly rural. And there's a lot of impoverished people and serious needs, like even just sanitation needs in houses, like not a lot of public sewer in places and things like that. So the glorified area that we live in at the beach is there's another side to Sussex County that really has some basic needs? What are you seeing the most of?
It's a combination of things. I would say the two main ones that I see personally, and this is again working through Love Inc., but also a bit more of like what I see personally, is the lack of affordable housing is one, and not just I don't mean just low income housing, because it's part of it,
Right.
but just affordable housing. What that looks like at different levels. Low, middle, upper middle, all of that, and transportation. So all the resources could be in place, but there needs to be a way to get to those resources as well. So I would say those are the two main things. And so there's a lot of maybe mental health issues as well as some of that. But I think it really is those two main things, is lack of affordable housing and then maybe accessibility. So like a good infrastructure for public transportation, let's say. So you mentioned the beach side, which we're in, which is beautiful.
Yes.
Love this area.
Yes.
But once it's off season,
Right.
getting around with public transportation there isn't any. There isn't any. And so it's a real challenge for people that might want to make a living out here and aren't just here during the summer and live here year round. There are people that might work in this area and live more, closer to western Sussex County, and those present some challenges.
Well, because a lot of our hospitality and all of the industry that we have in Sussex County, outside the chicken farms, we have a lot of wonderful beach industry, hospitals, things like that. But if you live in the affordable housing, which is mostly in western Sussex, how do you get here? So that's a great point. There's not a lot of, I guess you could jump on a chicken truck.
Well, and you'd be surprised. I mean, and we have a lot of success stories, but one in particular jumps out at me. We have this one individual who used to live actually multiple of them used to live out of their vehicle, but he's had the same job for about 10 years.
Wow.
And was homeless for about 6 to 8 of those.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy? And we have this preconceived notion of homelessness, and I want to say displaced individuals, because they might not have a house, but they have a home. Sussex County is their home. Right? Delaware is their home. And so what ends up happening is you have these individuals who are trying to make ends meet and trying to move forward. And those are the people that Love Inc.'s system is ready and is primed and ready to identify and pick out and invest more into those individuals, more than just the food, the shower, the laundry. We oversee Coat Purple for Sussex County.
Oh, wow.
And, those are things that will help you, regardless of whether you want to move forward or stay where you are, that's fine. But for those who want to make a change, we have more. And we want to help you. We want to journey with people.
So you have the basic package, and then you have the upgraded package, should you choose.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you have kind of every level of service. And Code Purple, I think so much. We've had a cold winter, and I think that's like my biggest fear, is being cold for a long period of time. Well, that's not my biggest fear, but it is a fear. And I can't imagine not having a place to go.
Yeah.
In this, because it's been frigid for us.
It's been windy.
Windy, which is cold.
I think I was just driving here, and I have a tall van for work, and I felt like I had to constantly redirect the van because it just kept tilting to the side. I was like, oh my gosh, this wind.
It's always amazing to me. We live at the beach, and it's only windy when it's cold. It's like in the hot summer when it's like we really need the wind. Where'd the breeze go? But yeah, I do. I think often about the people that you are serving, and not knowing that you had this. So you really spread your mission to the local churches. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like in terms of how you meet people and how you get them engaged, and what your needs are. Yeah.
So something that I like for people to remember is when somebody asks you, what is Love Inc.? Right? That's a very basic question. What is it? And very briefly, it is a partnership of groups working together. That's what it is. A partnership of groups working together to change lives. Right. And so our mission extends to churches mainly because that's our mission statement, but it extends to wherever the church is. We, or at least believers know, that the church is not just the four walls. We know that it's the people. You know, the people are the church. And the church is also in the marketplace, hospitality, and, you know, engineering or architecture or construction. Wherever the people are, there the church is as well. And so that's why we like to say wherever our partners are, there we are too.
Right.
So we're not a church, but we help the church be the church, right? We provide the infrastructure and the leadership and all this, the resources so that people can just show up and be in their gifting, whether that's serving, listening, you know, sharing wisdom. So for a lot of churches, we serve as sort of an outlet for like local missions or service. And for a lot of people that maybe aren't necessarily believers or commit to the Christian faith, we are sort of an outlet for community service, for giving back to the community, because those are values that sort of overlap with, you know, they want to give back. And so a lot of businesses do. Some, again, are believers, and they want to be in the mission that they believe in their faith, that God wants us to be in. And for those that aren't believers, we believe that we're practicing what Jesus teaches when he says, you know, let your good works shine before others so that they may glorify our Father in heaven. They may not believe what we believe, but they can't argue with the results.
Right.
And they want to have an impact. And we want them to be part of it, because then it gives us an opportunity also to share, like, we believe, and it's in our mission, to transform lives and communities in the name of Christ. We believe that only through Christ there is true transformation. There can be change. You know, you can help someone go from homeless to housed. Now, the deep heart change, that's only something God can do. And so that's our hope is, and we don't force it upon people. We offer it, and we say, hey, this is something that we believe will be not just valuable now, but valuable forever. It's up to you whether you want to take it or not.
Right.
So that's sometimes the apprehension with some of the businesses, and a lot of our, actually all of our partners, if not all, or most, if not all, have come for a tour, and they've seen it firsthand. They've gotten to know the team. They've gotten to know the team leads, and they get to know the process and the team very well. And so we serve as a local outlet for a lot of businesses and churches to serve the community.
So talk to us a little bit about that structure. You say you have teams. What are the teams? Tell us about that.
So we have a system in place that helps people go from crisis to stability through accountability. So accountability is something you're going to hear over and over, and it's very intentional, because when you love someone, you hold them accountable, right? I hope my kids, you know, I love them. I don't want them to live with me their whole lives, you know?
Yeah, get out, Ryan. He's already been out.
Yeah. My hope is that at some point, at the very least, that they can be their own individual self-sufficient person. And part of that is what we want for people. Like that's exactly what we want for the people that we serve. And a lot of people might think, oh, homeless people. No, it could be anyone.
Yeah.
We've gotten calls from people that, you know, sudden death in the family, and it throws everything for a loop. Or, you know, maybe a split in the marriage. And so a dual income household is not a single income household. And so that takes an adjustment period. And so how do you walk through that? So let me walk you through the system, you know, and there's two parts to this, right? But we'll go through the long-term part first, because it's the more elaborate one. So we have a connection center. Everything flows to and from that. All the calls, whether you want to volunteer, whether you want to give, or if it's someone in need, they all go to the same number, which is 302-629-7050. People leave a message. And if it's someone in need, we always tell them to leave a message with their name, your need, and your location. And what that does is it makes the best use of their time and our time, because then before we even call them back, we can do a little bit of research. What's their need? Where are they? And it helps us to focus on the story of the person. We can get to know them. We're not so focused on problem solving, because we might have the basic thing that they've asked for, but we can dig a little deeper, and we can ask them, and we can get to know them. It's very holistic, because we don't want to just fix what they're asking for. we're trying to get to know them to the point where we can say, hey, you might have called for food or diapers or, fill in the blank, but have you ever considered this? Or, do you need help with this or that? And so we're trying to go beyond what they're asking for. And we want to make sure that they know that they're cared for. We'll pray with them if they choose, right? We'll offer it. And sometimes people, listen, the state is doing a good job with like the state service centers, which we partner very close with. Mm-hmm. The state is referring people to us.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the state service center is like the first stop. Mm-hmm. And we have a really good relationship with the administrators at the different state service centers. But one thing the state will not do is pray with you, mm-hmm. right? They will not. But that's what sets us apart, and the coordination of resources. So the Connection Center is where everything flows to and from. All the calls go there. And there's sort of like the old, Ryan, you might not know about this, but the old switchboards,
Yeah.
It's like, hello, who are you calling? Let me connect you. You know what I mean? So we'll forward it along. And so we have a system also where we keep track of who's called, why they've called, and if this is their first call or their 100th one, right? And what was the result of each of those calls? If they ask for help, especially with finance, we'll ask them, do you have about 5 minutes to go over your budget? They'll say yes or no, and sometimes that's the end of that, and they hang up. Because some people, not all, but some people are just looking for a quick fix, a Band-Aid repair.
Right. And
they just want to, get a quick fix.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is we are trying to sift out, who's willing to make a change. Because the fact of the matter is, and when we do the budget, we'll go line item by line item, income and expense. And what ends up happening is when you fill all that out, it gives us two options, either a green number or a red number. Right. We are all too familiar.
Way too familiar.
So you get a green number. Why are you here? Like you're, according to your budget.
Apparently you haven't told us something.
Right. You should be fine. It's like, well, I just lost my job. Okay. So let's, now we need to adjust this budget. Or maybe I'm smoking too many cigarettes or whatever, or they're overspending. But once they see, it's like, oh, I should be in the surplus. Like, what's going on? So maybe there's some habits there. What needs,
It's eye-opening. I think for a lot of people, when you sit down and do a budget,
yes.
It's like not just there's money in the account or the money isn't in the account. It's what did you actually spend it on last month?
Well,
yes.
And that's nice because if you're helping them fix their budget, that can help them long-term. It's not just, like you're saying, it's not a quick Band-Aid fix.
Mm-hmm.
If they can fix their budget, that can seriously help them in the future.
Absolutely. And the Connection Center, that department, and that usually people's first point of contact, is one of the main reasons that churches and businesses partner with us. Because now, let me finish the budget piece, and we'll go through the expenses and the income. If they're in the green, eye-opening, right? What am I actually spending my money on? And if it's in the red, well, what's going to happen 30 days from now? Right. If I help you now, what's going to happen 30 days from now when you're in the same
situation?
In the same situation. And the key question for both the green and the red is what needs to change? That's the key question.
Right.
Spending habits, lifestyle. Do I need to live more simply and live within my means or below my means, so that I could save up and get out of debt or whatever? Or, do I need to get a second job? Do I need to decrease my expenses? Both? Yes,
right,
and
all
of the above.
All the above. Step one.
I feel like I'm preaching to myself. But so that Connection Center is a really big moment for people to get to know themselves and for us to get to know them. And so the Connection Center also holds people accountable, because if they say, hey, I owe, $800 on my utility bill. So again, the budget question is going to come up. Why are you in this situation? But second of all, we're going to call the utility company with their permission, because if you're going to ask for financial assistance, we're going to need some permission.
Yeah.
To
and some verification.
To verify. So we'll call the utility company and verify that. If they say I owe this much on my rent, we'll call their landlord and say, hey, we're calling on behalf of so-and-so. Is it true? Can you confirm that this is how much, that they're owed? because you don't want to get to the situation where, again, we've all been taken advantage of at some point, and it's nobody likes that. Nobody. And so what the Connection Center does for individuals, for churches, and for businesses is that it cuts down on people getting taken advantage of. And so what
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because
it's like trust but verify.
Yes. And you want to assume the best in people, right? You want to assume positive intent. And what ends up happening is we verify all the information, and then we call them back and say, okay, why don't you call these different resources? And we have an ever-growing resource library, which is one of the ways that we partner with churches, because then we're going to connect them based on their need in their area. We're going to connect them back to the organizations and churches that are meeting that need. Right. So now they don't just get their need met, but now they're getting plugged into a community that's going to uplift them and support them and get to know them. We know pastors by name. You know, we have that personal relationship, and I can pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, just sent someone your way. You know, they need this. You know, try to connect with them, and that way it's a warm handoff. It's not just some stranger. Right. It's like, hey, I spoke with Gio.
Here, call these 4 people. Hope you connect with one.
Right. Exactly. And so the resources is a little bit more like that, but the relational piece, you know, where they're going is really important to us. So that's the Connection Center in a nutshell. We processed over 20,000 calls last year in 2025.
Wow.
20,000 calls. That's a lot of calls.
That's a lot of.
So a lot of churches and businesses who want to help don't have the wherewithal or the staff or the structure or the process to do all of that, but they don't need to. What I like to tell people is Love Inc. is the team you didn't know you had.
Right.
We're here to serve you.
You're handling the process.
Yes. And so what ends up happening too is with over 80 church partners and over 100 business partners, now you have almost 200 partners saying, hey, why don't you call, hey, here's some food, here's some water. Why don't you call Love Inc.? Like, they'll help you come up with a plan so that you're not in this situation. Now, one of 2 things happens usually. One is like, oh, great, let me call, leave a message. Or the other one of, well, I'm boiling it down to 2 oversimplistically, but the second one being like, oh, they don't help people.
Oh, right.
And then that's an immediate red flag, because you're like, you know, maybe they've called before and they didn't get what they wanted. They just want a quick fix.
They want a quick fix, yeah.
Right. And not to say that that's everybody, but it does happen. Right. And so we always want to assume positive intent. And we understand that people can't sometimes see past the immediate need that's right in front of them, because it's just a survival mechanism. Like, right. You're just trying to get this need met, a warm place for the night, some food for my family, some clothes.
Yeah, it's a desperate situation in a lot of cases, and you have to get that need met, and then you can't focus on something beyond that.
Absolutely.
I can only imagine.
Absolutely. And so it would be too overwhelming to think about what's next. And so they just default to what's right in front of them. So that's the Connection Center. Very,
very robust. That's really
That's
neat.
our first department. First department. Then for people, and so we have another one called Gap Ministries, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. But for all the people that we come into contact with, we're trying to always identify and pick out people who are just, there's different things that we have a list of that we're looking for. People, but it boils down to, are they willing to change? Mm-hmm. Are they receptive to direction? Are they willing to show up for themselves? Do they respond well to being held accountable? Because these are the people that we want to invest into.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to waste your time if they're not willing to do the work too with you. Yes.
And what ends up happening too is like, there's no worse student than the one who doesn't want to learn. Right. You can't force someone to change.
Right.
Right. And so that's why we're very, attentive.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think I've been involved in some financial literacy programs quite a time ago at the school age level, because they're not getting taught. So you run into a hard time when you're a young adult and you haven't been taught financial literacy. You don't know how to balance anything. You just see money in the ATM. You used to go to the ATM and like, is there a balance in there? Oh, look, I can pull out. Oh, I forgot all the bills were coming out tomorrow. So I think there's a lot of people that just are not aware of what they don't know and how to do it. The basic skills of how to make a budget and things like that. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. So and so through and you're hitting on a great point. Once we identify these people, we'll recommend them internally to case management, and we'll say, let's come up with a plan. The key question we ask them is, where do you see yourself in 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we get from here to there? Like, let's come up with a plan and let's come up with goals. And so the case manager will will help them come up with a plan, because where do you see yourself in 2 years? I'm not going to who am I to tell you where you're going to be in 2 years? It's up to you. But what do you want to accomplish? And so we'll have them come up with a plan. And let's say they see themselves in Rehoboth and they're living in an apartment by the beach. Well, then that means you need a really good job.
Yeah, good job and a very good budget.
Yes. So then, okay, maybe I need to get a new job. Okay, so this week, and what happens is there's different levels to case management, right? We have an intensive, which is a every week type of meeting for no less than an hour, right? So this is very frequent. And those are the people that want to get housing, need to get a new job, have things that are immediate, right? And need more attention. And so we'll meet with them. And if it's, let's say, like a new job, okay, well, the case manager says, okay, well, you're going to find 5 job applications that are within like your skill set, because it's not just any 5 jobs, but 5 jobs that fit you, right? Christine jobs are going to be looking different than Gio jobs or Ryan jobs, right? And so we want to make sure that's something that fits you. And so you find 5, I'll find 5. We'll help you come up with a resume, which is something that we help, with. And next week we'll reconvene and we'll see what we find. And so then the next step is like, okay, let's submit our resumes to each of these 10. And something that happens that very next week is accountability. Is like, hey, I found the 5. Did you do what you said you were going to do?
Right.
Because if you didn't, something needs to change, right? And it's not like we're going to be like, drill sergeants. There's grace, but at the same time, we love you enough to teach you how to develop these skills, because our hope is that you don't depend on us forever.
I don't want to be your life partner.
Yeah. And so then there's there's an intensive, there's a middle level of case management which might be like every other week. Non-intensive is what we call it. And then there's a contact. So these might be people who maybe reach their goals but they love the accountability. Like, can you check on me once a month?
Right.
Make sure I paid my bills. You know what I mean? Or help me analyze my cash flow. I don't know. Like, I just want to make sure I'm not overspending where I need to. So
just like a check-in call.
Yes. And so people always have the option of, staying in case management as a contact. So that's case management, right? We hold them even more accountable, right? Because then we're digging deeper. Why are you in the situation? Mm-hmm. And where do you see yourself? And how do we get there? But we also advocate on their behalf, because we're calling sometimes places. We're helping them with tasks. Maybe some people are overwhelmed by forms and stuff like that. So volunteering, actually, in both of these cases, the Connection Center and case management, if you feel like your skill set fits one of these, like, please call us.
Right.
Even on the phone or like the Connection Center, you have 3 screens.
I don't do well with paperwork. I'm just putting that out there.
That's fine. In the Connection Center, you have 3 screens in front of you and you're managing different systems, and we're onboarding people on how to do that. And for case management, you're not going to be a case manager, but you might be willing to help someone with this. Maybe you'll get a skill set and say, like, here's the person, here's your skill set. Can you help me find like 5 jobs that fit this bill?
Right.
Oh, great. I can do that. I'll block off 30 minutes or something and see what we can find. And it needs to be within this radius of area. Okay, great. Yeah, let's do that. And so those are different ways that people can come along and be part of that,
Right.
Now, case management works really closely with our next department, which is Transformational Ministries. And Transformational Ministries has 2 main components. One is the one-on-one relationship with mentors. So mentors are people that we train to encourage, to uplift, to ask questions. Now, they're not enabling these neighbors, because, again, we're trying to teach them, right, how to develop these skills. Is how can I help you accomplish what the case manager gave you? Or, what's going on? Maybe it's just a weekly check-in. But it's another person that's not the case manager that is in their corner saying like, I got your back.
It's their cheerleader.
Yes. You're not on your own. You know, like some people have never had that.
Yeah.
And some people have actually had the opposite, where like detractors saying like,
You can't do this.
You'll never amount to anything. You're just
Right.
a waste of space. And against that, in the name of Jesus, you know what I mean? Like people will start believing that about themselves.
Of course.
And so you have to break that. You have to break that and surround them with people who say like, you were made with a purpose.
Right.
It's nice because you have multiple different people telling
Yes.
them that same thing and surrounding them with love. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, love in the name of Christ. And it might not, you know, it's not like we're beating you over the head with the Bible. We want you to be surrounded by a lot of people that want what's best for you, regardless of whether you go to church or not. The same way God loves us. I mean, just because people don't believe in God doesn't mean that he strikes them dead on the spot. You know, lightning bolt out of a lot of people would be
A lot of people would be a very sparse population.
you know, and it's truly unconditional love.
But I think it's hard. I've always thought it's very hard. I've been very blessed my whole life. I mean, I grew up with parents that loved me, you know, very blessed all the way around. And I always thought about, you know, what makes somebody not believe in themselves? And what if they never had that? Like, what if you just grow up with like a little dying cactus, you know, like nobody's taking care of you. Nobody's feeding you words of wisdom and happiness. And it's great that you have a whole team that supports one person, you know, at a time.
We believe that the church is the answer to this, and we're providing the infrastructure so that the church can be the answer to this. Because again, many members make up the church, but then many churches make up the body, right? And so you have churches that are really good at one thing and other churches are really good at another thing. And we're just trying to bring it all together so that we can coordinate and move in a coordinated fashion, right? So in a grand scheme, that's what Love Inc. is coordinating the collaboration of many different groups, right?
So you have like liaisons at these churches and things like that like a group of people that are ready to kick into high gear if you have somebody to refer to them.
So we always have a contact person with that church. It doesn't always have to be the pastor necessarily, but there is a contact with each of the groups that we partner with. But going back to the system, so we have Connection Center, Case Management, and now Transformational Ministries. And there's a mentor, which is the one-on-one relationship, cheerleader, I got your back, you can do this, right? Then there's the other part of that department, which is the classes. And this is where we touch upon two main classes that we offer. And here we now have like 3 or 4. But the two main ones are Faith and Finance, which is a faith-based financial literacy course that goes through like foundational things. You know, the very first lesson they get is connecting money and relationships. How do my relationships affect the way that I handle my money? Because a lot of people don't think about that. So like the way you deal with people is probably going to reflect how you handle your finances.
Interesting.
And people don't think about that.
I definitely have not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, am I a generous person? Okay, so if I want to be generous, then I need to live simply so that I have the capacity to give, right? Or am I very selfish? Am I self-destructive, with my relationships? Odds are you are financially too.
Right.
So it helps people think about, like, money is just the symptom. Like you see the symptom, but what's underlying that? Because transformational ministries truly, and you see it throughout the whole system, but it's getting at the heart, right? It's like we're trying to minister to the heart. And so through transformational ministries classes, there's a faith and finance. So that's the first lesson they learn. They learn, best practices for budgeting and stuff like that. Then there's the stuff like as basic as, how do I open a bank account?
Right.
Because you'd be surprised. Some people don't know what it takes to open a bank account. And going back to what you were saying, some people just don't get taught that at home, or now they don't do it at school anymore.
Right.
So where are they supposed to learn it? Like, I got to Google, how do I open a bank account? You know what I mean?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT,
and it can be intimidating.
Yes.
You walk into a bank and you don't know, and you've got to sit down and pretend you do know. I mean, it's an intimidating process, I think.
Or let's say this. you're walking into a bank, you haven't researched anything. You're like, I got $50. I'm gonna try to open a bank account with $50. So actually you need a minimum of X amount of dollars. So, but I didn't know. And then now you feel terrible. You never want to walk
now
into
you're
a bank
embarrassed. Yeah.
again, ever.
Yeah.
So then that affects your character, and so what you do with your money. And so transformational ministries, mentors and teachers. And then the nice thing about the classes too, is that it transitions from just being the one-on-one with the mentor to being a community thing. I'm not the only one learning about this, or I'm not the only one going through this challenge. It's now like this little community of people that are going through this journey together. Right. And so that's what I like to call compare primary care and urgent care. I use that a lot because one's not better than the other. They each
have a purpose.
They each have a purpose, and it's not like one is better than the other. You need both. And so that system is the primary care side, but we also know that people need things now, like food, shower, clothing, laundry services, and we oversee Cold Purple for Sussex County. And so all of that falls into our GAP ministries, which we like to call immediate services for people that use the church lingo, but it's immediate services. We're not a crisis center. So we're here to teach people. Even in our GAP ministries, we're holding people accountable. So for example, we give out free clothes on Fridays, right? Free Clothing Friday. Shout out.
I was about to say.
If you ever want to
catchy.
get free clothes. I remember I used to take videos when I first started. Like I'd wear different ties every Friday. It's like, oh, look at this tie. So I'll put this tie on, but on Fridays we got free clothes. Now we're trying to help people who might not think about the long term, right? Again, they're looking at what's right in front of them. I need clothes. And so they don't tend to take care of the things that they have, but they can only come once every other month. Okay. So now they start thinking, maybe someone who doesn't think about tomorrow is now thinking, well, man, what am I going to need a month from now? What are my kids going to need a month from now? Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold? Are my kids going to be in school? They start thinking about all these things, and we're trying to teach them to take care of what they have, what they've been given. Just because it's a free resource doesn't mean it's an unlimited resource.
I was just about to say that word, unlimited.
Right? So we teach them, we give them a little sheet that they sign, and it has the item limits per person, right? Here's how much you can grab for shirts per person, pants, underwear, stuff like that. And we're trying to teach them, okay, I have to be very strategic. I have to be very selective because I can't just grab everything I want because it's free. There's limits. Right. And so that's the GAP Ministries portion. That's just one example of how we hold people accountable through the immediate services that we offer. So that all of that works together, and churches and businesses are plugging into the different parts of the system where their gifting or skill set kind of flourishes, and they can be part of one or multiple, and we have volunteers that, just do the one thing and do it really well. And we have, other volunteers that are involved in like 3 different departments. We have this one person whom we love, and she, like, after she gave her first mentoring session, she had her mentee for the first time. Person leaves, wept. She's like, this is what I've been looking for.
Oh, wow.
There's nothing better than finding the right puzzle piece. Have you ever done puzzles?
Oh, yeah. Not very good at them.
Neither am I. But I guess even more so, when you find the right piece and you put that piece in and it fits just as it's, there's nothing quite like it.
Yeah.
It's like that times 1,000.
Right.
For the person to write the right fit within Love Inc. that fits within their skill set. And so all of this works together. And we've helped 69 people now go from homeless to housed.
Wow.
In the last 3.5, 4 years. 69 people that have gone from homeless to housed.
That's great.
Because they've been willing to work.
Right.
They've been willing
and
to
they've had the right people in their corner.
And and there's this funny story. Before we have certain partnerships where we can place people and stuff like that. But before we had that, we had like a hotel type of program where this was back during COVID days. They gave like certain X amount of dollars to organizations, right? So we were placing people in hotels and implementing this system, right? And helping them, you don't want to stay here forever.
Right.
And you can't.
Well, I don't know. They put a chocolate on the pillow every night. I might.
So then there was this one person that we said, part of being in this program, if you're staying in like a place where we're kind of covering the housing short term, transitionally, well, case management and transformational ministries is optional. But if you're staying in one of these programs, it's no longer optional.
It's not optional.
No.
Right.
And so one of the things that we require is that you show us your bank statements, that you share that with us, and that we can, hey, you're not paying rent. You're not buying food because we're giving you food. You don't need.
What are you doing?
What are you, like, why isn't your account growing?
Right.
And so we're holding them accountable.
Right.
And so there's one person that, stayed in, they said, yes, I'll do whatever you want me to do, stayed in the hotel, and then they didn't want to show us their bank account. It's like, that's not what you agreed to, right? You signed this agreement. It's like, well, I don't want to. I was like, well, we're going to have to ask you to leave.
Right.
And he did.
He did.
And then 2 weeks later, he comes back. He says, all right, I'll show you my bank account. You know what I mean?
That's called tough love.
Yes. And sometimes
really
people need to kind of weigh things and say, okay, I think I'm going to have to do this, and something needs to change. And that's what I hope people come across, at least in their minds, when they're going through our process and working with us and we're serving them. I hope that question comes to their mind. What needs to change? Because that's what we're hoping they think about, and that they know that they have a group of people that are willing to walk with them and journey with them. We've had people that their cases in case management have been closed, and then they reopen again because now they know what to expect. And so sometimes it takes time. These are, we all do, but even more so, people that have been wronged or have gone through a lot have trust issues.
Sure.
And it takes time to build trust. So they might not give you all the information. They might not be as forthright because they're probing and they're seeing, can I really trust Margaret or Karen, our case managers? Can I trust them? And so then you get more information. It's like, well, you didn't tell me that the first time. Now we have to readjust this plan.
Now my eyes are open, right?
Yeah. So it's that whole thing. And so we help businesses. We've helped businesses help their staff. So that's one way that we're contributing to the economy. And another reason why we have so many business partners is because a lot of business owners care for their people.
Right.
And maybe their staff is well off, right? But they have a family member or a friend, or they know of somebody who's in a time of need. That's why it's like loving. It could be any of us. It could be anyone. Spouse passes away, God forbid, right? Or something tragic happens, and then all of a sudden life changes. And we've had those kind of calls, and we're able to walk with people, helps businesses help their staff, or help individuals help their family, help churches, help their congregation people. And we don't share people's information. Like, this is very, we have really strict controls over what we do with that information. And it's not something that, is open to people.
That's incredible. That is quite an organization.
Yes.
And I'm embarrassed that I didn't know about it.
I was mentioning earlier, part of the reason that, we've been around for 15 years, but in the last 3, we've been really growing. And it's because we had a lot of people who were telling us, people know that you help, we just don't know how.
Right.
Or what you do. And so Pastor Miguel and his wife, Catherine, did a really good job of okay, let's lay it out in a clear way.
Right.
And now let's just blast that message through all channels possible.
And they have you.
Well, yeah, and then the opportunity opened up, and I just...
It's part of their vision.
Yeah, personally, I'm really passionate about church unity, personally. And when I remember, I went back to that moment, I saw the little marker board, and I saw the mission, I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, this just resonates so deeply with me as a person, and I was like, it'd be great if I could be there. And then a job does open up, and I was like, man, if this isn't... And I moved out of state to be, because I wanted to be with Love Inc.
That's incredible.
Because I believe in what we're doing. It's
Right.
more than just a job for me.
Right.
And so there's a different level. There's a different level of pep in your step when you love what you do. You could tell when somebody does it because they have to do it, like when you tell your children to clean their room, you could tell when they do it because they're told, or they do it because either they want something or because they just like, they're tidy. You know, they want to have a tidy room. You could tell the difference.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so 69 people that have gone from homeless to housed, over 1,000 people that have avoided homelessness in that same time frame, about 3.5 years. And it's all because, you know, our partners, you know, over 100 business partners and over 80 church partners. We have over 70 individuals who give monthly through our Love Your Neighbor membership. So if you're an individual who's, you know, looking to support a mission or looking to support something that is having a long-term impact, make sure you give me a call and you grab one of these. I love that you have video now. This is awesome.
This is awesome. Yeah, we can actually show stuff.
But, you know, this kind of, and it's not just to make the ask for like a business or an individual, but it also is a material that you can have and say, like, when somebody asks you, why do you support Love Inc., you can tell them why.
Yeah,
you can
absolutely.
show them this and say, you know, for every X amount of dollars, like, this is the monthly impact that we have. And we have a very, very talented marketing department that's part of our development team, and they just are so creative. They make visuals so easy to understand. And again, in the last 3 years, we've grown so much because we've been doing the work. Now we're trying to communicate it. And we've had partners that have said, I believe so much in what you're doing. I want to cover the cost of whatever it is that you need to be with WBOC, to be with The Bridge, to be on the Dan Gaffney show, on the radio show. And so we're doing all these things because people believe in what we're doing. They want more people to know about it.
Absolutely.
So that they're not like Christine before I came on here, and they could say like, I know Gio, or I've heard Gio, or I've seen Gio.
I can say that now. I know Gio.
Yes. And it's not about us. It's about the collective group. And we're looking to change people's lives. And we, you know, if you're looking to have an impact on the community, I mean, this is, I believe, we're a really good option.
Absolutely.
You know,
well,
we're not the only.
There's always so many ways to give, and Ryan and I deal with a lot with people that are retiring to the area, and one of the reasons we started the podcast was like, what do you do when you get to Delaware? You know, well, there's so many volunteer opportunities to get to know other people through your mission work or whatever you decide to volunteer. You know, we're Rotarians. You know, Love Inc. You can do all these volunteer things, so it's kind of like spreading the word. Like, there's stuff to do here, even if you don't need the services. You could be a part of a great organization and really feel great. So you've come to Delaware. So totally off topic here. Well, kind of on topic, but you came to Delaware 3 years ago. What's your favorite thing about Delaware?
Oof, that's a great question. There's a few things that I love about Delaware. Okay, so
absolutely.
Top one is the flat roads. Underrated. Flat land.
Yeah.
No hills. A lot of straight roads.
Makes it a lot easier to run.
Yes. Run, bike.
Yep.
You know, so I love, that's one of the things that I feel like now, like when I visit Pennsylvania, for example, like I have family there, or I go to Florida and we have to drive through all these states, you know, I remember, I'm like, man, I've gotten used to Delaware.
I don't think we've ever had that answer. I love the flat roads.
Yeah, the flat roads and straight roads. So like if something is 35 miles away, it's probably going to take you 35 minutes to get there. In New York City, you could be 4 miles away and it might take you 45 minutes to maybe an hour and a half, depending on rush hour.
Ryan and I had an experience in DC, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare.
Oh, it's a mess. Make one wrong turn, it adds 40 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
We made 2 wrong turns. We were really cool.
Yeah, and so like you know, that's one. Like, it's easy to get to places. Mm-hmm. One of the big selling points for me, you know, moving into the area and getting used to like the Sussex County, I learned this. I'm not a local, but I've become a local.
Yes.
Right. I've chosen to become a local, and they taught me about lower, slower Delaware.
Oh,
Sussex County. Yep. Lower, slower Delaware. And I was like, I love that.
Yep.
I'm a chill guy.
Yep.
I love, you know, I'm not so much in the water, but I'll sit by the water, grab a good book, you know, put some music on, and I'm chilling.
It's a great way to live.
Yes.
It's a vibe that people don't understand until they get here.
Yes.
It's like we are not the hurry scurry.
Yes.
Everybody's like, that contractor didn't call you back. I'm like, well, they might be surfing. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and so that is definitely an adjustment. So I love the slower pace. I love how friendly people are. The flat roads, as I mentioned, and just straight roads. But another thing, if you like to be more adventurous and you like to go places, you're really close to a lot of major cities.
Yes.
DC, Philly, you got, if you want to go to the Maryland side, you got Annapolis is not too far.
Right.
You got New York City's not too far.
It's all very drivable from here.
All very drivable,
Yep.
And if you're already used to sitting in traffic for an hour and a half and going like 4 miles.
Right. You might as well drive 2 hours and get to Philly.
Exactly. You can get a good Philly cheesesteak from D'Alessandro's. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome. And you can go to DC and go to like National Museum of things, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's a great location.
Yeah, so geographically, I think it's awesome. It's very close.
You're not locked into one space.
Yes.
It's an adventure living here. It can be an adventure.
I will say, maybe, I don't know if this is a favorite thing of mine, but definitely something to consider is just how bipolar the weather is. Like, you can wake up and it's beautiful and sunny, and then all of a sudden, like, it's pouring rain. And then you wake up tomorrow, it's like nothing ever happened. It's like, if you woke up at 4 p.m., it might look like you didn't know it was sunny and bright,
We had 3 inches of snow yesterday, but today is 65.
Exactly.
It's fine. We're fine.
Yeah. But those are
funny.
a few of my favorite things. And yeah, it's a great time in Delaware, honestly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I feel transformed just by talking to you and learning about this great resource. And I had a great time. I know Ryan had a great time learning. We love to serve our community and be a part of our community. So what a great way to do that. And I know our amazing Lou, who does our podcast and our video. Can you see? You can't see you on video. You should.
But we can hear you, right, Lou?
Yes.
But he
I don't
will.
think I was on. Here I am.
There
you
you
got that
are. Thank
podcast
Lou.
voice. I was like, why are you not on this podcast? You got
He
the
does
radio.
amazing voiceover. He
Really?
does a voiceovers. Look at some of our videos. You'll hear his
Oh,
voice.
can't wait.
He's amazing.
Very
He does
excited.
all things. And but I know he's excited about Love Inc. So we've learned a
Absolutely.
lot.
I was mentioning to Gio earlier, I'm going to make sure I add that to our promotions on our social media along with some
Absolutely.
of the other nonprofits that we support.
Yeah, so look on our social media. We'll find our the QR codes and the wonderful opportunities that you can either use their services if you are in need or you know somebody in need, or contribute either personally or financially or however. So what a wonderful podcast. I really appreciate having you on, Gio.
Yeah, lovedelmarva.org if you want to visit our website. Come for a tour.
Yes.
Come for a tour. There's 3 main buttons. One's to become a volunteer, one's to take a tour, and the other one's if you want to give. So all right there, really easy to navigate. But if you're interested in learning more about us, would love to get to know you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, Delaware.
Whether you're looking to purchase your perfect beach getaway or retirement home, or it's time to sell your current home, the Real McCoy Group of Caldwell Banker Realty is ready to make your dreams a reality. Visit therealmccoygroup.com for more details. Find your happy place with the Real McCoy Group.